Good morning. Welcome to A Course in Miracles, Lesson 136. Sickness is a defense against the truth. No one can heal unless he understands what purpose sickness seems to serve, for then he understands as well its purpose has no meaning. Being causeless and without a meaning, full intent of any kind, it cannot be at all. When this is seen, healing is automatic. It dispels this meaningless illusion by the same approach that carries all of them to truth and merely leaves them there to disappear. Sickness is not an accident. Like all defenses, it is an insane device for self-deception. It is an insane device for self-deception. And like all the rest, its purpose is to hide reality, attack it, change it, render it inept, distort it, twist it, or reduce it to a little pile of unassembled parts. The aim of all defenses is to keep the truth from being whole. The parts are seen as if each one were whole within itself. Defenses are not unintentional, nor are they made without awareness. They are secret magic wands you wave when truth appears to threaten what you would believe. They seem to be unconscious, but because of the rapidity with which you choose to use them, in that second, even less, in which the choice is made, you recognize what you would attempt to do and then proceed to think it's done. Who but yourself evaluates a threat, decides escape is necessary, and sets up a series of defenses to reduce the threat that has been judged as real? All this cannot be done unconsciously, but afterwards, your plan requires that you must forget you made it, so it seems to be external to your own intent. A happening beyond your state of mind, an outcome with a real effect on you instead of one affected by yourself. It is this quick forgetting of the part you play in your making reality that makes defenses seem to be beyond your control. But what you have forgot can be remembered, given willingness to reconsider the decision, which is doubly shielded by oblivion. Your not remembering is but the sign that this decision still remains in force, as far as your desires are concerned. Mistake not this for fact. Defenses must make facts unrecognizable. They aim at doing this, and it is this they do. Every defense takes fragments of the whole, assembles them without regard to all their true relationships, and thus constructs illusions of a whole that is not there. It is this process that imposes threat, and not whatever outcome may result. When parts are wrested from the whole and seen as separate and wholes within themselves, they become symbols standing for attack upon the whole, successful in effect and never to be seen as whole again. And yet you have forgotten that they stand but for your decision of what should be real, to take the place of what is real. Sickness is a decision. It is not a thing that happens to you, quite unsought, which makes you weak and brings you suffering. It is a choice you make, a plan you lay, when for an instant truth arises in your own deluded mind, and all your world appears to totter and prepare to fall. Now you are sick. The truth may go away and threaten your establishments no more. How do you think that sickness can succeed in shielding you from truth? Because it proves the body is not separate from you, and so you must be separate from the truth. You suffer pain, and because the body does, and in this pain you are made one with it. This is your true identity preserved, and the strange, haunting thought that you might be something beyond this little pile of dust, silenced, and stilled. For see, this dust can make you suffer, twist your limbs, and stop your heart, commanding you to die and cease to be. Thus is the body stronger than the truth, which asks you live, but cannot overcome your choice to die. And so the body is more powerful than everlasting life, heaven more frail than hell, and God's design for the salvation of his Son opposed by a decision stronger than his will. His Son is dust, the Father incomplete, and chaos sits in a triumph on his throne. Such is your painting of your own defense, and you believe that heaven quails before such mad attacks as these, with God blind by your illusions, truth turned into lies, and all the universe made slave to the laws which your defenses would impose upon it. Yet who believes illusions but the one who made them up? Who else can see them and react to them as if they were the truth? God knows not of your plans to change his will. The universe remains unheeding of the laws by which you thought to govern it, and heaven has not bowed down to hell, nor life to death. You can but choose to think you die, or suffer sickness, or distort the truth in any way. What is created is apart from all of this. Defenses are plans to defeat what cannot be attacked. What is unalterable cannot change, and what is wholly sinless cannot sin. Such is the simple truth. It does not make appeal to might nor triumph. It does not command obedience nor seek to prove pitiful and futile attempts to plan defenses that would alter it. Truth merely wants to give you happiness, for such is its purpose. Perhaps it sighs a little when you throw away its gifts, and yet it knows, with perfect certainty, that what God wills for you must be received. It is this fact that demonstrates that time is an illusion, for time lets you think what God has given you is not the truth right now, as it must be. The thoughts of God are quite apart from time, for time is but another meaningless defense you made against the truth. Yet what he wills is here, and you remain as he created you. Truth has a power far beyond defense, for no illusions can remain where truth has been allowed to enter. And it comes to any mind that would lay down its arms and cease to play with folly. It is found at any time, today, if you will choose to practice giving welcome to the truth. This is our aim today, and we will give a quarter of an hour twice to ask the truth to come to us and set us free. And truth will come, for it has never been apart from us. It merely waits for just this invitation which we give today. We introduce it with a healing prayer to help us rise above defensiveness and let truth be as it always has been. And here is the prayer. Sickness is a defense against the truth. I will accept the truth of what I am and let my mind be wholly healed today. Healing will flash across your open mind as peace and truth arise to take the place of war and vain imaginings. There will be no dark corners sickness can conceal and keep defended from the light of truth. There will be no dim figures from your dreams, nor their obscure and meaningless pursuits with double purposes insanely sought, remaining in your mind. It will be healed of all the sickly wishes that it tried to authorize the body to obey. Now is the body healed because the source of sickness has been opened to relief, and you will recognize you practice by this. The body should not feel at all. If you have been successful, there will be no sense of feeling ill or feeling well, of pain or pleasure. No response at all is in the mind to what the body does. Its usefulness remains and nothing more. Perhaps you do not realize that this removes the limits you had placed upon the body by the purposes you gave to it. As these are laid aside, the strength the body has will always be enough to serve all truly useful purposes. The body's health is fully guaranteed because it is not limited by time, by weather, or fatigue, by food and drink, or by any laws you made it to serve. You need do nothing now to make it well, for sickness has become impossible. Yet this protection needs to be preserved by careful watching. If you let your mind harbor attack thoughts, yield to judgments, or make plans against uncertainties to come, you have again misplaced yourself and made a bodily identity which will attack the body, for the mind is sick. Give instant remedy should this occur by not allowing your defensiveness to hurt you longer. Do not be confused about what must be healed, but tell yourself, I have forgotten what I really am, for I mistook my body for myself. Sickness is a defense against the truth, but I am not a body, and my mind cannot attack, so I cannot be sick. And that is the end of another long lesson, 136. Sickness is a defense against the truth. When I was reading that, I couldn't help but think of the fairy tale of the shattered glass, the shattered mirror. And when you think about what we believe that we have taken the accurate reflection that is the wholeness of all that we are, which is the mirror, and we have shattered it and made each of us into separate little fragments of that glass that can cut and wound and heal and distort the truth of what we are. And that distortion can make things look very scary and feel off and feel ill, if you will. And so sickness arises because we are defending against the truth that that accurate reflection would really show us. And the truth of the matter is, we can't shatter the glass. It is unshatterable. We are just distorting in our own mind what might happen if we could shatter that glass. And so if we just simply accept the truth that we would rather see what the accurate reflection is, there wouldn't be any sickness. Okay, let's see what Tina Spalding's channelings of Jesus tell us. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus. This, of course, is the ego's greatest argument. When you sicken and your body seems to betray you, the ego might say to you, see, you are abandoned, and God does not love you. God would not let this happen to you if he loved you. You are being punished by God. Your own distortions are projected on God. You become the victim, and God becomes the perpetrator. This is what the ego wishes. You must remember that in the origins of your separation experience, you chose to separate from oneness. In that separation, you became so overwhelmed with guilt and fear that you created this world. In an effort to prevent God from punishing you for what you perceive to be the ultimate betrayal, you begin to punish yourself. You become guilty and you become sick because you do not believe that you are indeed the Holy Son of God. You believe you are a sinner and you believe you have failed by coming to this place. You made your mind forget it, but you have not forgotten the guilt and the shame and the fear that you felt on that initial separation and the belief that God would punish you. So you leap in to punish yourself first. Now, these are all esoteric ideas. Most of you say, I just got a cold. I don't know what you're talking about. These are the unconscious motivations of your sickness. Most of you become sick to achieve something that you do not believe you can achieve in health and love and life. You are indoctrinated into sickness. You are indoctrinated with such ideas as vaccinations. This means you have a cultural belief that unless a human intervenes, you become sick and potentially die. This belief is, in fact, the unconscious guilt you carry from the original separation. Your mind is far more complex than you know. It has more information in it than you know. Multiple lifetimes and a plethora of details that have been collected every second of every day since you were born into this body. It is a machine that works very hard to keep you separate from the truth. Why, you ask? Why is it doing this? Your mind does this because the truth is overwhelming. Truth is death to the ego. So in choosing to come into separation and in that original decision, that somewhat foolish decision, you miscreated an entire world and a belief system that says, love is dangerous. God is going to punish me. I must keep away from love, for God is the ultimate expression of love. That is why you have so many issues with loving people and loving yourself on this planet. You literally chose to enter a realm of not love. Some of you will say, oh, well, I see love all around me. My friends love me, and my mother loves me, and my children love me. But we will ask you, how conditional is that? What do you have to do to get that love? How many hoops do you have to jump through before somebody decides he or she does not love you? We want you not to be disillusioned with the world. We want you to understand that you rise above the world. You become a beacon of light for those deeply immersed in the 3D scheme or paradigm that you call life. You step above that logic. You step above the battlefield. You align with higher principles that do not exist on earth in this time and place. You could be called a Pollyanna. You could be called delusional. You could be called somebody who not getting all upset and twisted out of shape. You could understand the bigger picture. You understand that through your forgiveness practice and the understanding that guilt, sacrifice, and suffering are not necessary, you take one step at a time, one forgiveness practice at a time, and one day at a time, up that ladder toward the light and love that is your natural home. You have frightened yourselves. You have taken a deep detour into fear, and you are afraid to go home because you think that the Father will punish you. The story of the prodigal son tells you the Father is only happy that you come home. There is no sin. There is no punishment. You are welcome with open arms in absolute and unconditional love. I am that one that you know as Jesus, and we will see you again tomorrow. Sickness is a defense against the truth. And how often have we made those decisions in our lives? You know, you think of what little kids do if they are playing and they break something and they don't want to tell mom and dad that they were playing and something broke. And so they begin to make defenses, and yet in their mind, they are creating all this guilt, and they make things so much worse by not telling mom or dad what has happened. And when in truth they finally do, they are forgiven immediately. There is only love, and there is nothing but correction of the mistake. When we get sick, if you think about oftentimes when you are getting sick, it is definitely a defense. It is a way for you to meet a need that you're not paying attention to. As a younger nurse, when I first started in nursing, I was sort of a workaholic and I would work extra shifts and I was having relationship issues and life was stressful. And I just kind of kept putting more and more blocks on top of my life. And I would talk to myself and say, oh God, I could really use a break. But I wasn't going to allow myself that break because that wouldn't be the wise thing to do because I had to work for money. And I mean, I had all kinds of rationalizations. And so invariably, I would get sick. And when I would get sick, I would sleep. I would sleep for 2 days, sometimes almost straight, or I would be out, down and out for a week. That was my permission. That was me giving myself permission to stop. Sometimes when we get sick or we have an accident, we keep thinking maybe we should leave a job, we should change the way that we're thinking. We just don't listen, and then we get sick and we kind of get taken out of the game anyway. And in 2008, 2009, 2010, I began to get sick. I was thinking that it was time to leave a job for a number of reasons, but it felt like a secure thing. I liked what I was doing, even though I felt like there was more ahead of me. And because I wasn't listening, I developed a severe illness that took me out of work for about a year. And so the universe was saying, yes, you need a break. You need to regroup. You need to take a different path. And this gave me permission to do that because I wasn't listening to myself. Sickness is a defense against the truth. If you are becoming sick, just realize that your body is communicating something to you. And while medication and procedures can be very beneficial in this world, the truth of the matter is none of them are what heals you. Illnesses and surgeries often open you up to that potential to heal. Me being sidelined by an illness and having a surgery was my opening to surrender to the truth because I had to look at where I was at. I had to search my soul for what was really important. I had to change the way that I was looking at the world. Getting sick is your opportunity to change the way that you're looking at things and looking at how you are operating in a world that is not true for you. Look at the illusions that you are creating. This is an important lesson. It's a long lesson and it will be repeated over and over again. So don't get overwhelmed with it. Just allow yourself to absorb what works for you today. Take care, everyone, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.